Hey, Passionators, I'm back. How are you? It's been a long time, right? Okay, so it's been a whole day, but I'm back. And while I was out here making a little bit of vitamin D, I thought I'd stop by and chat with you a little bit about, of course, the title. Why is love so hard when so many people say they want it, spend so much time and effort trying to get it? Why is it so difficult? Why is it so hard to keep it together? Why is it so hard to make it happy? Why is it so hard when it's supposed to be so natural? You know, when we are children, it's easy for us to do because our hearts are just so open. And everything that's as short as we are has an equal chance to get our best from us. We're just happy to see somebody on our level that we can play with, that we can experience things with, that we can explore with. That's what we're happy about then. And it works. It's awesome. And then we grow up. And in the process of growing up, we get disappointed by all kinds of things. Our hearts get broken over all kinds of things. We get told negative things about ourselves. Uh, we lose people who are important to us. We didn't get a lot of the things that we were really, 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 really hoping for. And because of that, we start closing our hearts off little by little, right? And for a lot of us, it also means that something traumatic happened. Something really traumatic, something life altering happened to us. And it's at that point in our lives where we get stuck emotionally, where we get stuck spiritually, where we get stuck psychologically, because nobody ever helped us process that event properly. Nobody ever helped us understand it. Nobody helped us integrate it into our lives. Nobody helped us figure out what it really means to us, what it means for how we are, who we are. Nobody helped us through that. And since we were so young and we were so unequipped, we got stuck right there. We got stuck in the belief that that's the way life really is. We got stuck in the idea that that's the way it's always going to be. We got stuck in the belief that if I choose to extend my heart, open my heart, spread my arms, love again, that it's going to automatically mean that I'll have to deal with that kind of pain again. So we get stuck. And we go into defense mode. We try to protect ourselves, right? We still want to feel all the good things that we associate with love. We want the warmth, we want the affection, we want the attention, we want the time, we want the exploration, we want the play, we want the fun, we want all of that good stuff, you know? Because we're really wired for it. It's our bodies as much as it is our minds. We're actually wired for that. Humans are wired to connect. We do better connected than we do disconnected. It's just the way we're wired. Our anatomy indicates that. I won't go into it right now, but I think most of you can figure out what I'm talking about. We are built for connection. And so when the connection is ripped away from us, it is a traumatic experience. And because we don't process that trauma completely, because we don't put it in its proper perspective, we take it to an extreme that isn't really true, but it feels like it to us. And we think our feelings are telling us the truth, and our feelings are actually lying to us. Our feelings will tell us love is dangerous. Our feelings tell us love is painful. Our feelings tell us love requires all kinds of sacrifice and compromise. And love tells us that we're supposed to put ourselves at risk and in danger in order to have it. And love is supposed to be all these things that put us in this negative position in the first place. Not because that's what love actually is, but because that's what we saw. That's what we grew up watching. That's what we saw happening in front of our eyes. And even when we knew what we were looking at was painful, what we were looking at was something that we didn't want to repeat. We knew that what we were looking at was something that we didn't want to live. We accepted it as the truth because we were too young to know any better. We were too young to make a conscious choice for something different. We saw this over and over and over again. And once you tell a lie over and over and over again, it becomes true for you. And so that's what love looks like for so many of us, because of the trauma that we experienced growing up. When we watched our parents, they are our blueprint, for better or worse. They are the blueprint in their presence or in their absence, in their health or in their toxicity. They are our blueprint. So our idea of what love is and how it works is formed by what we see happening with them. So if we see violence with them, if we see dismissiveness, if we see neglect, if we see humiliation, if we see degradation, if we see manipulation, if we see love is all about emotion. There's a popular one. We've been fed that line how many times now? And how often has it actually worked in our favor? The whole idea that our partners are supposed to make us happy, that when we're with the right one, love will be easy, where we get our twin flame, right? Where we have our soulmate, that love will just be easy. It'll happen. We won't have to work so hard at it. It won't be such a struggle when we get with the right one. How's that working for you? The truth is, love doesn't work that way. And as long as your emotions are calling the shots in your life, love is never going to work that way. Too many of us get stuck in our trauma, and we get stuck in the emotion of that trauma, and we live our lives defending ourselves against feeling that emotion again. That's how we mess everything up. That's how we make these choices that don't work for us. That's how we create all these unrealistic expectations of what our partners are supposed to be for us. That's how you can have somebody who is so accomplished and so intelligent and so functional in other areas of their life and make completely irrational decisions in their relationships. That's why. It's because they got stuck in the trauma. They are literally recreating the trauma that they grew up with because they're trying to resolve it subconsciously. They're trying to make it make sense. They're trying to make it work because that's what they believe love actually is. That's what they've been conditioned to believe love looks like. And so even the most toxic situations, they have put the stamp on it that says, this is love. When she lies to me, when he hits me, when she's irresponsible with the money, when I don't know where she is, when he mistreats me, when he talks to me any kind of way, that's what stamp love is. And so when I grow up I'm going to look for that because that's what love is. Mind you, most of this is subconscious. This isn't something that we sat down and thought about and chose consciously. Most of us aren't aware that this is what we're doing, and we don't see it unless we actually take the time and make the effort to examine ourselves, which is something we don't typically do. We just keep doing what we've been doing because we've been doing it. And when it doesn't work, we assume that it's because we're with the wrong person instead of that we're doing it the wrong way. Is this making any sense to anybody? We have faulty love blueprints that we keep following over and over and over again because we believe that our relationships are supposed to make us happy instead of making us better. We believe our relationships are supposed to be the place where we go to get what we want from the person that we want to get it from. That they're supposed to make us happy. And if we're not happy, then it's their fault. Then they have to change. Then there's something else that they need to do, or there's something that they need to stop doing because we don't like it. So if they don't stop it, it means they don't love us. And from that blueprint, you cannot establish a loving relationship. Well, Eden, what do you mean? Like, aren't they supposed to make us happy? Aren't they supposed to want to at least contribute to making us happy? Aren't they supposed to want to make us happy? Isn't that what love is? Just having the desire to see somebody that you love happy and that knowing that you are responsible for them being happy? Isn't that what love is supposed to be? That's what we've been told, isn't it? Every time we look up and we see romance, we see love, we see caring and concern, we are told that that happens because they're making each other happy. That they got together and they were soulmates and they were twin flames and everything magically worked out. That they were hashtag relationship goals that we should all be striving to achieve. The truth is this: when love actually does work, it doesn't work because the couple is trying to make each other happy. It works because the two people in the couple feel free to be exactly who they are with each other. And because they're compatible, they know that they're making each other happy. They don't have to change themselves into somebody that they're not. They don't have to be somebody they've never been. They don't have to try to fit somebody else's idea of what love is supposed to look like. They can show up and be exactly who they are and feel free to be that person all the time. And they know that the person that they are is the person that their partner wants to be with. That's how it works. That's what's going on when you see those couples that have been together for 20 or 30 years or more, and they're still smiling at each other. They're not one of those couples that's put in the same amount of time, but they look more like cellmates than teammates. We all know those couples. We've all seen them. Some of us have been them. We know those couples. We see them all the time. And we give them all kinds of credit just for making it last. We have to stop giving participation trophies to people who just serve long sentences together. That doesn't count when it comes to making a marriage work. That doesn't count. They've got to be teammates. They have to be working together for something bigger than their own personal, emotional satisfaction. Because I'll tell you what, your emotions are never satisfied. They always want more. No matter how good it is, your emotions always make you want more. They are bottomless. They always want more. So there's never enough. There's always a new hoop to jump through. If you keep having relationships trying to satisfy your emotions, you will be perpetually frustrated, always angry, always hurt, always disappointed, always a victim. Victimhood is not the way you build a lasting, loving, healthy, happy relationship. That happens when you take responsibility for your own feelings. Oh my God. That's how it works. You have to understand that your happiness is your job. It's not your mate's job. The good stuff happens when your mate wants to help you with it. You know, when they enjoy doing the same things that you do. When the same things that make you happy make them happy already. But if you're the kind of person who's living a disciplined life, and that's what makes you your best self, then somebody who isn't going to work for you, no matter how attracted you are to them. Here's another thing that people have a really hard time accepting. Most of the people that you're attracted to are totally incompatible with you. Say what? Yep, I said it. Because it's true. Most of the people that you are attracted to are completely incompatible to share your life, to be in a relationship, to make a partnership that's actually going to last with you. So, Eden, what does that mean? Does that mean I actually the only hope I have is to be with somebody that I'm not attracted to? No, that's not what that means. But it does mean that you're going to have to be willing, number one, to be completely honest about what it is you actually require in order to be happy in a relationship. Most of us can't get past that block. We can't get past that because it doesn't sound good. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't match what we think of ourselves. It doesn't match what we tell people we would actually want in a relationship. It doesn't match what we think of as being a good person. So we don't accept it. And we fight against it. And we say what sounds good. We say what's expected. We say what we think the other person wants to hear instead of saying what is actually the truth. We have to be responsible for our own happiness. If we are not happy alone, we will never be happy with someone else. It will just complicate our misery to add somebody else to our lives. That's all that happens. If you haven't figured out a way to be happy alone, then dragging somebody else into your unhappiness will not make you happy. It will just make both of you more miserable. That's why other people can't unhurt you. It's nobody else's job to make up for the pain that was inflicted on you from somebody else. They can't unhurt you. They can't undo your past, and they can't compensate for any wrong that was done to you somewhere else. Most of them can't compensate for the wrong that they do themselves. Why? Because they can't undo it. They can't undo it. And they can't undo how you feel about it. Recovery only happens when you make a decision to recover. And if you don't, you won't. It's not about the partner. It's not about the time. Time heals nothing. Time just provides the opportunity for you to heal yourself. I'm going to say that again. Time heals nothing. It only provides you the opportunity to heal yourself. But if you choose not to take that opportunity, guess what will not happen? Not only will you not heal, you will continue to bleed over everybody else who comes into your life after that. That's how we get stuck in the trauma that we experience as very young people. We got cut then, and we continue to bleed because we don't address it, because we don't heal it, because we won't be honest about it, because we won't be open about it, because we won't tell the truth to ourselves about ourselves. So it's impossible for us to tell the truth to anyone else about ourselves. Here's the work. The work is you have to, must, it is required. If you're going to be in a healthy, happy, lasting relationship, your first order of business is to learn to love yourself. I know you're tired of hearing that, but it is the absolute truth. And many of you probably don't know what that means. You don't know what it looks like. I get it, because nobody teaches us that part. That's not what we grow up seeing. We just don't do that. So once we become adults, we have an opportunity to change that, to introduce some more information, to introduce a new idea, to pick up a new way of seeing things, and to create a new way of doing things. We can do that. We don't have to stay stuck in the trauma that we grew up with. But so many of us are living love in past tense, meaning that we're still doing what we always did because we always did it. Until you stop living love past tense and start living love in the present, then you will never you won't get off the hamster wheel. Well, Eden, why do I keep attracting these people who are no good for me? How can I stop attracting all of these people who do me wrong, mistreat me, don't know how to love me the way I need to be loved? How do I stop attracting those people? Here's the truth about that. You never stop attracting those people. You know why? Because those people are attracted to everything that you are. You don't attract what you are. You attract what's attracted to you. I'm going to say that again. You don't attract what you are. You attract what's attracted to you. And you actually have very little to do with that. Because out of all the people that are attracted to you in your lifetime, there's two, maybe three of them. On a generous day, there's maybe 3 of them that's actually compatible to share your life with you. So out of all the people you date with, mate with, friends with benefits with, one night stand with, get engaged to, get unengaged from, however you mate, however you date, most of those people are incompatible to share your life with you. And they won't stay around long enough to do it. They're attracted to you. That's how you got together in the first place. They are attracted to you. That doesn't make them compatible with you. And until we learn to be willing to walk away from what doesn't serve us, we will be stuck on the hamster wheel of trying to resolve the trauma that we grew up with, trying to make it make sense as adults because it didn't make sense when we were children. But since we really believe that that's what love is, then we will recreate the trauma. We'll recreate the environment that the trauma can live in so that we can resolve it, so that we can make sense of it, so we can make it work, so we can have the love that we longed for as children that we didn't get. And that's exactly why it doesn't work so often. That's exactly why we have the dismal relationship statistics that we have right now, because we have a bunch of people who have been traumatized as children, who are suffering from cases of arrested development. Their emotional and psychological and spiritual development stopped at the point of the trauma that changed their whole lives. And they have spent all of their adult years recreating that trauma, trying to resolve it. And it hasn't worked. And they won't accept that, because what they long for is what they know. And since they're not willing to know something different, they're not willing to do something different. They're not willing to be uncomfortable in a new way of doing something long enough to make it comfortable for them to actually get a different result. Love is more than an emotion. Love is a discipline. That's why it's so hard. Most of us grow up trying to find ways to indulge our emotions. Sometimes that actually works for us, and many times it doesn't. Feeding our emotions doesn't make us happy. Have you ever noticed this? That when you put somebody in a situation, even with children, I see this all the time with children especially. When you give a kid everything they ask for, are they really happy? Does it make them happy to get what they ask for? To get what they want? Does it make them happy that every time you turn around, you're sacrificing one thing or another to make sure that they have what they want? Does it make them happy? Or does it just make them want more? I'll wait. That's something we don't outgrow. That's why trying to give your mate everything they say they want doesn't make them happy. Have you noticed that? There are a lot of relationships where people are getting what they said they wanted. And they'll tell you that. It's not like I made it up. They will tell you that. And they're cheating anyway. Why? Because they're not happy. And they think that it's their mate that's making them unhappy. And their unhappiness isn't about their mate. No matter what their mate is doing. Their mate could be a total... I'm trying to keep this clean since this is a family show. But you know what I mean. Their mate could be totally wrong. Cheating, lying, mistreating, whatever. Right? But the fact that they are unhappy isn't about their mate. The fact that they are unhappy is about the fact that they are in that relationship, that they choose to stay with somebody who treats them in a way that isn't congruent with what they need in order to be happy. When you know what you need to be happy and you continually put yourself in situations that don't meet that need, that's not about what's outside of you. That's about what's inside of you. It's about the choices you're making, not about the people you involve. It's not their responsibility to change to meet what you need. That's not their responsibility, no matter how wrong they might be. They can be wrong all day long, but if they're comfortable with it, they're going to do it. And they have a right to be wrong. They have a right to be wrong. They have a right to live their life on their terms and not yours. You don't get to fall into somebody's life after 20 or 30 years of them living their life on their terms and rewrite the terms. That's not what you get to do. But what you can do is be willing to walk away from situations that don't meet your requirements for you to be happy and safe and healthy in a loving relationship. You got to be willing to walk away. Here's a rub, even if you're married to them. That's definitely another video for another time. But you have to be willing to walk away no matter what. You got to be willing to walk away after babies. You got to be willing to walk away after the ring. You have to be willing to walk away after the invitations go out. You got to be willing to walk away after you told everybody that would stand still long enough about how amazing your new mate is. You have to be willing to walk away when it embarrasses you, when it makes you look bad, when it makes you look crazy, when it makes you look like you don't know what you're doing. You have to be willing to walk away when you get that knot in your stomach that lets you know you are in a situation that you know you don't want to be in. You got to be willing to walk away. That power that you hear people screaming about, they got to get back, that's the power. That's the power. The willingness to own yourself. I like to call it satisfillment, self-sovereignty. That is power. That is where you get to adjust your crown and twist your hips on your throne and run some stuff. Because the stuff that you're running is you. And the minute that you detach yourself from allowing other people to decide who you are, how you are, then and only then do you have power. Because as long as they can decide whether you're wonderful or not, they can decide whether you're worthy or not, they can decide how much love you're actually worth giving. When they can decide that instead of you, you will always be a victim. You will forever be a slave, and you will never be free or powerful. But when you own yourself, then you call the shots and you decide what love is for you. You decide that. And the minute you're in a situation that doesn't match that, walk. Walk. Don't negotiate. Because most of you know when a negotiation would actually work in your favor and when it won't. When you're trying to negotiate what somebody's doing, you might have a chance if they actually want to stop doing it. But if they're cool with it, if they are cool with it, you don't stand a chance. You can yell, scream, cry, tantrum, text, look in their phone, check their email, act a fool on the job, whatever. You can do any of that you want to do, and you will still be miserable. And you will still be no closer to what it really takes to be in a loving relationship. No closer. You have to own yourself first. You have to love yourself first. You have to accept yourself first. In your entirety, as you are, you need to know for yourself that you are exactly who you should be. Exactly. Even knowing that there are things about you that you want to improve, that you want to change, that you want to expand, explore, all of that. Knowing all of that, right where you are right now in this moment, you have to accept yourself totally. You have to define yourself for yourself totally. If your identity is tied up in who you're in a relationship with, if your identity is stapled to being Mr. or Mrs. somebody, if your feeling of self-worth is tied to whether or not you have somebody sleeping next to you, you'll forever be a slave and you'll never be free. The good news is you can change that at any time. That's the good news. You can make a different decision at any time. Whether you're in a relationship or not, whether you're happy or not, you can make choices that will take you closer to the love that you really want. Because you can have it, but you have to be willing to show up and do your part. It doesn't just happen. It doesn't just fall out of the sky and into your lap. It's not about you being with the right person. It's about you being the right person. Because when you are the right person, you will choose the right person. We've been too busy trying to do it in reverse. We've been hung up on trying to choose the right person. We don't ever have to worry about that when we are the right person. Be the right person. From there, you have complete control and total power over whether or not you are with the right person. Stop focusing on trying to change them and change what you are doing. I promise you, once you do that, everything around you will change. It will change. You will make different choices. You will make different decisions. And you will learn different ways to show up in a relationship. Now, that's it for me for this sunny Saturday afternoon. I hope I've given you something that's helpful to you. And if you'd like more, want more, private message me or email me at eden@edenadele.com and let me know what it is you'd like assistance with, because that's what I do. Thank you for tuning in. Sorry about all the wobbling. Trying to do this, just holding the camera is a little tiring, but I promised I was going to be here, so I just wanted to honor my word. So thank you for tuning in. Like, share, come back, and let me know if there's anything else you would like me to discuss. Thanks again. Happy weekend. Bye, Passionators.